Hey guys, it's JJ here, and I just really quickly wanted to say something before this video starts. I've had this review in production for quite a while, probably about 4 months now, maybe 3, and I've just been on and off working on it and then not working on it, and as a result, it's awful. You probably would rather not watch this video right now. I guess over the past few months my expectations have just risen a lot because I've gotten better at a lot of the things that I've done, like video editing and things like that, even though I haven't been working on reviews as much. So yeah, I guess I've expected a lot more from myself, from my videos, more recently than when I first started this. And looking back at it, it looks awful. It really does. And I know most people would say that about their older videos, but this is my most recent video. Since I started this so long ago though, it has about the quality of what it was when I started, what my reviews were when I started it, if not worse than most of my reviews from around that time. So yeah, it's not very good at all compared to some of my other stuff. Now on top of this, I've also tried a couple of new things in this video and they didn't really work at all. They ended up just making the video worse more than anything. The most noticeable of these, you'll probably hear, is the audio is completely fucked up. Because I tried like doing some extra little tricks to try and get rid of some of the background noise, even though you can't normally actually hear it anyway, especially when there's other audio playing in the background, but it's still good to get rid of it anyway. I mean, it's not like it's a good thing. But I ended up just fucking the audio up even more, and you're going to hear these weird noises and these little pops when I speak, and it just sounds really bad. Not to mention the actual writing isn't that great either. So I hope you actually get what I'm trying to say instead of misinterpreting it so I look like a dumbass. So yeah, it's kind of sad that the first review that I have to contribute to the Otaku since I've joined the Otaku project is one of my worst ones in a while. But it's still something, and I didn't want to just stop it because it's bad compared to a lot of my other reviews and what my expectations are now, but it's not completely awful. And I'm sure a lot of the time when I think my work's awful, other people think it's still really good anyway, so... And not to mention I've worked on this for quite a long time, and I've gone on about, I'm working on this Chobits review, I'm sick of working on this Chobits review, blah blah blah. I'm not just gonna, I don't want to just say, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore, when I've talked about it so much, or at least I have on Facebook, and I've been working on it for so long, all that work's gonna be for nothing, and some people who might have been looking forward to this review, who knew I was doing this, might be disappointed. But I've done enough rambling. Enjoy this shitty video.
Hideki is a young farm boy who wants to get into college, but there's a problem.
I got rejected! I failed! I'm gonna be a bum for a year!
His academic abilities equate to jack shit, but Hideki has his heart set on college, so he decides to move to the city, Tokyo to be precise, and enrolls himself in a prep school so that he can make it into college next year. When Hideki arrives in the city, he notices the latest technological craze, Persocoms. Robots that look just like humans and are distinguished by wire covers on the sides of their heads, which for obvious reasons are sometimes referred to as ears. Almost instantly, Hideki wants a Persocom for himself.
They're so nice! They're so cool! I want one! I really want one!
But unfortunately, his finances equate to jack shit as well. He was lucky enough to be able to afford a cheap apartment to move into, but on his way home from shopping one night, Hideki stumbles across a Persocom in the trash. He manages to get the heavy thing to his apartment and turns it on by...
I can't find that darn switch! I've already tried pushing every place I can think of. I pushed here, and there, and this, and even these! Even those. I've pushed every inch of this computer I can find! Everywhere! Except...
Well, I guess you could say he turns it on in more ways than one. Once booting the Persocom, Hideki decides to name her Chi as...
Chi?
What? Huh?
Chi. 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 Chi.
Okay, you're cute, we get it.
Chi.
It's not long before Hideki is introduced to the guy next door, Hiromu, and his miniature Persicom, Sumomo, who both help teach him the ins and outs of owning a Persicom, since Hideki knows absolutely nothing about technology. And I mean nothing. He even has trouble understanding what, even nowadays, is common knowledge. Because Hideki is too stupid to work it out for himself, Hiromu notices that there's something about Chi that's different to other Persicoms. She can only say one word and has trouble understanding and following directions. She often just plain copies Hideki's actions because she doesn't know what else to do. Hiromu recommends that Hideki take Chi to a friend of his, Persicom expert Minoru Kokubunji. Kokubunji discovers that Chi is unlike any other Persicom. Whenever she is hooked up to another Persicom so that that Persicom can read Chi's data, it crashes. Chi also appears to have enhanced learning abilities, which no other Persicom has. So with Hiromu, Sumomo, and Kokubunji's help, Hideki decides to keep Chi and teach her the basic skills of life whilst trying to discover where Chi came from and what she really is.
Hideki.
Right, Hideki.
Hideki.
That's right, Chi.
Hideki.
Oh, right.
Hideki.
That's right.
Hideki.
Oh, really?
Hideki. 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 Hideki.
Chobits is a slice-of-life comedy, which is kind of odd considering this main premise is robots, but regardless, humour is the show's main emphasis, and the combination of Chi's lack of understanding and Hideki's perverted way of thinking and over-the-top reactions to everything make Chobits quite a funny show. I will admit that Chi constantly copying Hideki's actions gets a little bit old, but it is funny for the most part and remains cute the whole way through. The majority of the humour is not so much caused by Chi's actions, but Hideki's misinterpretations of them, as his dirty mind can make for many a sexually awkward yet hilarious scene. Though despite its main premise being comedy, Chobits also has a good helping of seriousness to offer, and this element becomes more obvious as the show goes on and we learn more about Chi, as well as the backstory of other characters. Characters engage in some very interesting conversation, which revolve around topics such as equality between robots and humans, and falling in love with what is, technically speaking, just a machine. Many an emotional conflicts stem from said topics in later episodes of the show, and the changing of mood and tone adds a welcome sense of contrast. The characters are a bit of a mixed bag, with some characters being likeable and others just being there for the sake of moving the plot along. It's actually quite surprising that the most likeable character in the show for me ended up being Chi, despite the fact that she's a robot and she's barely able to express herself due to a limited vocabulary. Whenever Chi was in some kind of danger, I always hoped that she would come out okay. I think this is because most of Chobits is, figuratively speaking, shown through the eyes of Hideki. When Hideki was happy for Hiromu, I was happy for Hiromu. When Hideki thought his teacher was being a pain in the ass, I thought his teacher was being a pain in the ass. When Hideki was worried for Chi's safety, I was worried for Chi's safety. There are some situations where this isn't the case, like many of the show's comedic moments for example, but for the most part I quite like this quality of the show. This has the most powerful effect during the show's climax, which I really need to talk about for a moment. I won't spoil anything, but I will say this. At one point something really terrible happens that tugged at my emotions quite a bit. It seemed as though all was lost, and it was devastating and in turn very effective. But then the creators decided to pull something out of their asses and they all lived happily ever after. Are you fucking kidding me? Now I don't have a problem with happy endings or anything, but they could have at least come up with something that's, oh, I don't know, plausible. It seems as though the entire show built up to this dramatic, emotional, and important scene, and then the creators just threw their arms up in the air and said fuck it, when the show only had about 5 goddamn minutes, if not less, remaining. And I must ask, why the hell would they do that? What the hell was going through their minds when they thought that was a good idea? But I digress. The next topic of discussion is the dub. I was very surprised to see some very well-received actors and actresses throughout the series. Most notable is Crispin Freeman, who plays Hideki and is most famous for his work as the leading roles in The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya and Hellsing. Unfortunately, Chobits isn't exactly his best work, and the same can be said for most of the performers. Though the dub is good, it had the potential to be significantly better, and it took me a little time to get used to. I do however have to congratulate the voice work though, because I couldn't recognise a single one of them by ear. None of the cast sounds like any of the other characters they've played. Well, at least in the works of theirs that I've seen. If someone had told me that the voice of Konata Izumi from Lucky Star also happened to play Takako in Chobits, then I wouldn't have believed them for a second. Long story short, if you're simply more of a dub person like me, then the dub is definitely worth watching, but it has enough flaws to warrant one to recommend the sub for everyone else. Something else that, like the dub, takes some getting used to, is the art style, which in some ways is a little odd. The first thing that comes to mind when thinking of Chobits' art is the eyes. Those creepy, creepy eyes. Anyway, for some reason, the eyes of the characters don't have much detail to them and are only filled with a simple gradient. If this was only for the Persicoms, it wouldn't be a big problem. In fact, it would be pretty cool considering the show's themes. But it applies to humans too, and makes it feel like you're staring into an empty body of soullessness. At first it's creepy to say the least, but trust me, you'll get over it faster than you think. You'll be joining in with Hideki's gawking and how goddamn cute she is before you know it.
Look how cute she is! I can't believe it! She's so incredibly cute and she can do everything!
Chobits is also artistically very different to most slice-of-life anime. Contrary to a lot of slice-of-life comedies, which tend to use very vibrant, colourful visuals, Chobits tends to use a much softer colour palette and goes for a more old-fashioned feel. Last, and certainly least, is the opening, which is as boring as fuck. She and Hideki just stand around doing something, and there are flashing colours and pixelation transitions, and nothing really happens. At all. Whatever, that's a minute and a half of animation each episode I'm skipping. Contrary to his looks, Chobits is full of sexual comedy, as well as that nerdy science fiction robots with feelings goodness that nerds like me love, and a good heaping helping of romance for the girls. And also for the helpless romantics like me. Whatever, I'm giving Chobits a B. If you like good comedy, sexual or otherwise, science fiction, romance stories, or all of the above, Chobits is probably the show for you. It has its flaws like most shows do, but for the majority, they won't be serious enough to warrant one's disliking of this very good show. Thanks for watching, this is JJ signing out.